What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Dolphin Chronicles presented by the Kendall Sports Network. Do not check your calendars. It is a special edition of the Dolphin Chronicles. No, it is not Monday evening. It is actually Wednesday evening, August 28th. But we got a special show for you guys today. I am Johnny Cruz. We got Port Byron here. Alex is on his way home, driving home from work. We have roster cuts. Yeah, we got roster cuts that we're going to talk about. Some additions that they added to the roster. The practice squad is coming into form. But before we do that, a very, very special guest. Alex was able to make this happen. This young man gets nothing but props from us for showing major cojones in what he did and the extent that he was willing to go for an opportunity. So we always give props to guys that put in that work and that are willing to do what they got to do to fulfill their dreams. So without further ado, Byron, take it away, introduce our special guest, and let's get this going.
Today we have the darling of training camp and the Twitter and internet universe. We'll call it our very own Kyle Ulbrich. Yes. How are you, Kyle?
Doing well. Thank you guys for bringing me on.
Yeah, it's our pleasure, man. Our pleasure to have you on. We know that you were camped out of the Dolphins facility with excellent signs, by the way. The comedy, the way they were written, I would have given you an opportunity, but you were campaigning for a tryout, if I'm not mistaken. Just an opportunity to show what you got in terms of punting for the Miami Dolphins. And we'll get to all those questions. But you do have another connection down to South Florida. You played your football at Middle Tennessee. And for 2 seasons, you came down and whooped the butt of every Miami team you played?
I don't know about all that, but we held our own in the state of Florida.
All right, so here's a question. I'll start off with this, kind of getting to know you. You were born in Mentor, Ohio, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
So how does a kid from Mentor, Ohio end up in Murfreesboro, Tennessee? Did I say that correctly?
Murfreesboro. You said it pretty close.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I was at obviously I went to school in Mentor, Ohio, 30 minutes-ish drive from Cleveland. And the first college I went to was Valparaiso up in Northwest Indiana. And I got my opportunity there, play redshirt my first year and then shared reps with the incumbent senior my second year there, which was my my redshirt freshman year. And, made the decision with my father that, if I did everything I could do there, do the school records, be all conference in the FCS, it didn't really, it wouldn't really matter as much. I could have done everything I could have done there. And, I still might not have gotten my shot in the NFL. So we decided to transfer and, coming out of that was before the portal. So coming out of the, pre-transfer portal, Stockstill was the only coach who hit me up. I think we contacted all 130 FBS teams, called the coaches, called the coaching office. I think I spent like 5 hours every single day until Stock hit me up, trying to reach out to these guys, whether that was phone call, via email. But Stock found my email and just, we just ran with it. So that's it's a story of how I got to MTSU.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, the rule pre-portal was if you transferred, you had to wait a year, or the only way you could play right away was if you got your degree and was a grad transfer, correct?
Yeah, and there was the third way, which is the one I got. It was you had to apply for the NCAA to be like, yeah, you had to get your waiver. And the way I got mine was I didn't get invited to the MTSU's training camp when I came, when I initially came and got the offer. And they told me, hey, we're going to wait until you get the waiver. The guy at the time, Daryl Simpson, Daryl helped me get my waiver. He was the compliance guy at MTSU. And, I tell you, he did everything in his power, contacted the NCAA, wrote, what he had to write on my behalf to get me onto the team. And I think with 3 weeks left, he got my waiver. I was cleared to play for the season. And obviously, they couldn't bring me in. They already had their limited guys on the training camp roster, or I guess, fall camp roster. So I had to wait until either somebody got hurt, somebody quit, or, something else happened. Some guy had to go home. I don't remember exactly what the situation was, but with about 2 weeks or 10 days left, somewhere around that time frame, is when a spot opened up and they were able to bring me in, and I was able to win the job in that short, brief window of time.
That's awesome to hear. Awesome to hear.
Man, what a cool story for sure, man. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
So you're no stranger to the grind, man.
Right.
So I mean, it's just getting started for you, man. That story is inspirational, man. Just having that chat with your dad and saying, "Hey, Dad, I think I've hit my ceiling here. If I want to make it big, I gotta go take another step." So just another chapter in the journey, man. So I'm excited to hear more, man. Byron, what do you got for him?
So the biggest thorn in our side, well, at least Alex and I side, we're big UM fans. I'm not gonna lie to you. And the biggest thorn in our side was such high hopes for the Hurricanes in 2022. Middle Tennessee State comes to town, and I'll be honest, I was like, all right, Middle Tennessee State, what kind of a butt whooping are we laying on this team? And
First off, how much did we pay these guys to come to
I
you?
was just about to say I did not know you were going to start bringing up old scars, Byron.
So wait, Kyle just said we paid them $750K to come beat our butts.
Yeah, punch us in the mouth is what they did. Yeah.
How did that feel though in your locker room and stuff, Kyle? I mean that had to be quite a feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it really was, because a lot of our team was from that South Florida area, or if not South Florida, Middle Florida, North Florida. We got a lot of Florida boys on our team. So,
Okay.
our quarterback actually went to, I forget where it was. It was a Florida school. So, those guys being able to go down there and, they probably didn't get the offer they wanted, or they weren't going to have the playing time at UM. Going down there and proving themselves, I mean, it was a really good feeling for the entire team.
What was his name? Cunningham was his name, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Chase.
Okay, right. Okay, so two of your teammates, DJ England Chisholm and Jalen Lane, combined for, and this is not a typo, 6 catches, 299 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Jeez.
That is absolutely insane. And not to kind of cut you short, but you yourself had a long of 72 yards in that game. From a runner is just crazy. And you pinned us inside the 20 twice, I think.
I think a few times. I know I had a touchback, and I think the long of that game was only 66. I think the 72 was later in the year.
Season long.
I think it was 66 in the game, because I remember it was right before halftime, and I think the ball hit at about the 12 or somewhere yard line, and the returner faked the catch so we couldn't down him inside the 20, so they can just knee it to halftime.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So we definitely got dominated in all 3 aspects of the game. I'm gonna slowly ease off of that disaster that I was not expecting Byron to bring up. But I gotta ask. I mean, you've already, with your story, excuse me, that of college, like Alex mentioned, you've already shown that tenacity, that grit to just kind of keep grinding. Like, when did the idea to come down to Miami and be outside the facility, like when did that click, and why Miami?
Yeah, it was just something, the boys and we threw around, and once it kind of came close to that wire of when I had to make the decision, it was just kind of one of those things where, I did everything I could to do it, I guess, how people say, the right way or the routine way, and, go to these camps, do all of these things I can do. It just didn't work. The agent I had at the time, she helped me out as much as she could, but being a newer agent to everything like that, it's taking on a specialist isn't an easy chore for an agent. So we weren't able to get the ins we needed. And, I figured the best way to get your name circulating around is just doing something that, for a specialist standpoint, hasn't been done, at least to my knowledge. So, you just kind of have to throw your hat in the ring. And, it's kind of, throwing shade on the current punter they have, because you're not going to go to like the Raiders, or you're not going to go to Dallas where they have an all-pro punter. You're going to go to one of these teams that possibly may need a specialist. And, that's why we chose the Dolphins. Close drive. Need be, I had a friend up there if I needed something to, there was one time he actually drove 40 minutes from his house to bring me a charger on the first day when my phone was blowing up from Dolphins Twitter, and I had to make sure I had my phone ready just in case. So, yeah, I mean, it was a good decision. Everything kind of panned out, but that's pretty much, what led into, the conversation coming up to the camp out.
Well, I mean, I think I speak for all three of us when I say that we were all banging the table like, please give this kid a chance, because, I mean, you mentioned it as politically correct as you could, as far as, saying our punter situation. I got to ask this question. We joked about it on our last show. Are you good at holding the ball for kickers on field goals? Because that apparently is why the punter that we have is on the team, because Jason Sanders feels really comfortable with the way he holds the ball for his field goal attempts.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing for kickers, is to have a holder they're comfortable with, and especially at the highest level it gets. But I mean, I did my fair share of holding. I did a really good job. We had a freshman punter, a freshman kicker, coming in there and doing the job. So it was my job to kind of get him acclimated to, the college playing field. I think, I forget what his first game was, but obviously we had Power 5 games that year, and I had to make sure he was ready to hit in those environments. And I had to make sure that if there was any pressure on him, I had to make sure none of it was on the holding. Like, he had to know one thing for certain: the ball was going to get snapped on time, the ball was going to get placed and put down as perfect as I can put it down, to make any kind of, external factors he had going on, whether that's noise, fans, the guys coming off the edge, him kicking the ball being down, I had to make sure that was going to be perfect and sealed tight for him.
There you go, Chris Gear. My man has experience holding for field goal attempts.
You said that you had a buddy here that drove 40 minutes to get you a charger, right? Due to everything you were getting on your phone. What was that reaction like from Dolphins Twitter?
I mean, it was great. I wasn't expecting anything like that. I told this story. When I was driving up, it was 1:32 a.m. I was driving up from the Keys, getting to Miami so I can be there at 6 a.m. And I was texting and, DMing everybody I knew from MTSU, from Valpo, all these places I played at. And I'm like, hey, can you just retweet this tweet? Can you repost it on Instagram? Like, I need your help getting this to as many phones as I can. And by the time it was, I think it was like 9 a.m., 10 a.m., I didn't even need it. Like, by the time they woke up, probably because this is their summer, by the time they woke up, it was already, blown out of proportion to something I didn't even think was going to happen. So it was honestly a relief off my shoulders, but at the same time, just kind of, humbling to see that many people are willing to help you out and like just tap a button or retweet just to see if there's a chance of them helping out.
Now, how did Miami media, in terms of like beat writers, sports writers, what was the reaction you were getting from them? I know that you had traction a lot with. I know you did a couple of interviews, shows that I listened to. What was that like getting? I know that you got that viral sensation, that viral feeling, in terms of retweets and stuff like that. But that attention from the media, what was that like? How did that come about? What kind of reaction did you get?
Yeah, it was, again, just, very humbling and, very, just a very cool feeling, I guess, to say. It's, a story that is just, the way my life is, and all of these other things that kind of fell into place for me to have the season I had at MTSU, for me to fall short of being on a team in the NFL or UFL or XFL. And, obviously now it's just the UFL, but, to have all of these outlets, all of these people, obviously there's one individual on the social media who didn't like me very much, but I'll stay out of him. It seems like he doesn't like many individuals, but yeah, I mean, it was just a cool thing. It's just really neat to see that many people willing to be able to help you out, write your story, and it's a really cool feeling to see something that you've been through, you experienced, that you just that's your life. It doesn't mean anything more. It doesn't have anything more extra to you that people are writing and that people are saying it's inspirational. There was one guy who I think he beat cancer a few times, and he has his social media following, and he told me I was inspirational, and I'm like, you can't mean that. Everything you've been through and like everything you've done for yourself, like coming on to me and saying I'm inspirational is it's just really cool to hear. And I mean, it's just honestly like a surreal feeling that people like that have a connection to your story.
No, and that's, I mean,
it is inspirational, bro. The fact that
Yeah.
you're willing to camp out like that and fight for your dream. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, it's a really cool story, man. You should feel good about it. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, Miami didn't work out. Was there any so far? I should say, because the season hasn't started yet. Chris Greer, you can do the right thing. Have you had any type of traction? I mean, I don't want to put your business out there if you don't want to, but like anything, positive, any progress on possible, possibilities, chances, openings is what's the next step for Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same old, keep on the grind, keep doing as much as I can to, stay fresh, hit balls. Because, the reality of it is an NFL team's not going to call during the middle of the season or at the very beginning because, they got their meetings, they got their paperwork, they got, the doctor's appointments you got to go through, you got to go to a team physical. You got all of these things that you have to go through that, a team's not going to bring you on, to do all of this stuff with a game on Sunday. So I kind of put, as far as the NFL goes, that's probably on the back burner for this season. But the shining light was I was able to sign to a reputable agency, and
Nice.
I was able to, just have him reach out to me and be like, hey, taking a punter is not an easy thing. Taking a punter removed 1 year from college is not an easy thing. But, I've had a guy in your situation before, not exactly, but close enough. And he was like, hey, you know what? I'm willing to put in the work if you're willing to work for me. And I said, of course. I mean, I jumped as immediately as I could. He told me to sleep on it when I'm in my mind, telling him yes. So, I mean, it was at the time I was unrepresented, and now I have an agent who's out there, chasing the bone with me. And I mean, I just couldn't be more grateful for what came out of it. Obviously, the ideal was an NFL or UFL, something or the other. And, I fell short of it, but that's okay. I got 2 camps, 2 opportunities to prove myself, possibly more if I decide to go to, some of the other, I guess, free agent combines for specialists. So the opportunities are there. I just have to make sure I'm ready and make the most of it when they come.
Awesome.
Now-
That's awesome to hear.
when the special teams coach got asked about your situation, and he made that comment where, well, I come into the facility at 3 a.m., so I don't really know what you guys are talking about. You caught wind of it, and you said, I'll be out there at 2 o'clock in the morning with coffee and donuts. So it begs the question, one, did you actually bring coffee and donuts? And what was the reaction with him? Just did he even see you there at 2:30 in the morning? Because that to me was, I mean, chef's kiss on that.
Yeah.
I brought the donuts. I got them from Publix. I know people were criticizing where I got the donuts from, but Publix was it was on where I was driving to get my I guess protein after I worked out. So I stopped in Publix, grabbed that, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't know where to get the coffee from. I don't know what this guy drinks, if he even drinks coffee. So I bought 3 different kinds of energy drinks just in case he's like me and likes to get his caffeine from a can. And then I got I think it was one of those Starbucks pre-made, just bottles of the stuff, because I figured if I got something where it was from like Dunkin' Donuts or where it comes in a jar that you can open and kind of mess with, you definitely wouldn't touch the stuff. So
Right.
I figured if it was sealed, had the wrap around it, I'm like, well, maybe he'd drink it. But I ended up, eating 2 of the donuts before tossing them out when I didn't see him drive by. I saw 5 cars pull in, and there was 1 car pulling into the gate at, I think it was 2:35, because where I parked my car was over by the casino. because that was the only parking lot open. And I mean, I saw one car pulling into the gate, and I'm like, that's him. You know, I missed him. That sucks. You know, he beat me to the gun, 20 minutes early. But I mean, I don't know what he drove, so I don't know if that was him or not. But the other 4 or 5 cars, they looked like they could have been coach's cars, so they could have been somebody, but they didn't stop. They didn't do anything. So I made sure I wasn't in the original spot to where, they told me to kick the curb, and I was at a reasonable distance from where they enter. So, but no, I didn't specifically see him.
So you've mentioned the dream is still alive, but is there, in terms of what you see for your future? I know that the UFL is an off-season league, but is coaching something that has ever crossed your mind? What would be the next step for Kyle? And not to be negative, but should this NFL dream not work out, what does Kyle aspire to?
Yeah, I mean, the dream was always obviously the NFL and, just kicking the ball at the next level and being paid to do so. But I mean, things don't really go your way all the time. And, I've kind of come to grasp with the decision, obviously being down here where I am, it's not an ideal place for a 25-year-old to find a job in his, graduated career field. So that's kind of, put on the bench for a little bit. But I mean, once this is all said and done, I told the fiance, this is probably my last year doing it. It's not fair to her to keep out, doing all these, events, traveling across the country just to kick a ball 5 times in front of a coach who maybe can get you a workout with the team. So, I mean, this is the last year doing it. Wherever we move to next, the plan is to find something either in my career field or just, something that pays well. It doesn't really matter what it is. And one of my coaches up in Birmingham, Coach Mike McCabe, he runs. I think his thing's like one-on-one kicking, and it's kind of like a United States kind of a thing. And he has different guys stationed around just to help out with the high schoolers and stuff like that. So I think maybe I can kind of reach out to him and be like, hey, I can probably coach some kids. I helped a lot of the guys underneath me at MTSU. Do the stuff. And I have a knack for it, I'm not to toot my own horn, but I got a knack for coaching. I'm a little rough around the edges, but I get the job done. So that could be in the future. I don't know.
What is our co-star's name? He or she made a guest appearance, and I'm sorry, I'm a sucker for puppies. So what's our co-star's name?
That is Percy.
Oh,
nice. What's up, Percy?
Boy. So
that's awesome.
We'll end on this, and we'll end on a good note. Middle Tennessee in 2024. New coach. What are you expecting from the old alma mater?
Honestly, I don't have my expectations too high. I mean, we didn't have a great year last year. He brought in a few transfers, some of which came with him from Vandy. And I hope they do well. That's the school I graduated from, and I paid a good chunk of change before I got put on scholarship there, so I better hope they do something. But I'm not setting my expectations at conference championship, but I'm hoping for a good bowl game, something I could watch in December or something like that. Now, if they go undefeated and somehow get that Cinderella chance, I'll take it. I'll go to the game. Don't get me wrong. But I'd say probably around the 6 to 8 win season, something like that.
Well, you ended up, if I'm not mistaken, at the Hawaii Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
How was that? A trip to Hawaii?
Nice.
Honestly, if I'm being completely transparent, I didn't want to go. I did not want to go because it was a 10-hour flight, and I wanted a bowl game where my family could have came for my last college game, something that they could have afforded to, because in the back of my mind, because it was going around the locker room, if we beat, I think it was FAU for the final game. If we beat FAU, we were going to Hawaii. And I'm like, oh, shit. Because my dad's telling me, I really hope you guys go to Hawaii so I can go to the game with you. And I'm like, Dad, you don't got the money. You can't go. And I'm trying to tell him, I'm like, you can't go. And what do? He ended up coming to Hawaii, paying for the large chunk of change for the flight and hotel. And I'm like,
He's a dad.
This sucks. But,
yeah.
oh, I know. it was a great time though. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to go back to Hawaii, but I was hoping for. Oh, I think it was the Frisco Bowl in Dallas, which is a bowl game that it's okay to go to, but the players get cool stuff, and it's right next to my dad in Texas. But no, he liked going to it. It was a really good time, and we got to be island champions because we won the Bahamas and Hawaii back years. It was a really cool time.
I remember that.
That's a great experience to have with your dad too, not for nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool. Awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, Kyle will always have this. Want to know at Hard Rock? He broke our hearts, but we love him anyway.
Yeah.
Kyle, listen, thank you so much for joining us. I know that you said you were humbled by that cancer survivor saying you were an inspiration, but man, you
are, bro.
Yeah, to those who had like us, we have a 9 to 5. Our dream was always to smell the circle you're in, where you're campaigning for an NFL job. You have the talent, even if it's punting. I mean, I'm sure all of us were NFL quarterbacks in a Super Bowl in our driveway at some point. But to have the opportunity to even get that close is something that I guess we admire, not only for the work that you put in to get there, but man, these are unforgettable experiences that I'm sure you're going to take with you, and you're going to be able to pass on to your kids. That viral sensation, this aspect of it is something I'm sure you're going to be able to tell your kids. One day, Dad was all over Twitter, and they're going to say, "What's Twitter?" And you're going to be like, "Oh man."
Yeah, because there'll be something new by then.
Yeah, I can't wait to tell them I was COTD of the day. So.
Well, but keep that dream going, man. It's congratulations on the agent. You know what I'm saying, and hopefully they can make something happen. I know you mentioned that this is the last year, because of the fiance, and and having to possibly move on. But we're all rooting for you, bro. So we're hoping that you do get an opportunity. At least somebody lets you in the building and gives you a fair shot to show what you can do. So we are definitely going to be keeping track of you. Is there, excuse me, your socials or anything that you want to put out there so that the people can know where they can keep track of you and see what's going on with Kyle?
Yeah, it's the typical first underscore last name Kyle underscore Ulbrich, but I mean I don't use social media and all that like that. So
okay.
I mean don't be coming for updates. I mean if I get signed to a team, you'll see me on there. But until then,
right.
If I got nothing to post, I got nothing to post.
Well, I can only make this promise. If and when you get your opportunity and you make a team, I'll make you this promise. I'm getting a Kyle Ulbrich jersey for sure.
Hell yeah.
100%.
Hell yeah.
I'll take it.
No doubt about that.
Sign me up.
All right, Kyle. Well, we thank you for spending time with us. It was our pleasure to get to know you. You just seem just like one of the boys, and it's something we loved about you. What we saw. So, Johnny, take us away.
Yeah, we wish you the best of luck. Again, for the new people, hit the subscribe button, smash that like button. Definitely turn on your notifications because you never know when a special episode is going to come out like this. We had, again, a special guest, Mr. Kyle Ulbrich, came down here, did that grind, was out there in front of the facility every night, every day for camp. That's how you got to put in that work if you want to fulfill your dreams. And he, I believe, put in some extra work. That's some OT right there that my man put in, camping out there. So we wish you the best of luck. Are we going to keep going talking about roster cuts, or are we cutting this show now?
No, that'll be for our show Monday with our season preview.
So Monday we'll be doing the roster cuts. So definitely check us out Monday 7:30. The Dolphins Chronicle right here on the Kendall Sports Network. For Byron, for Alex, and for the one and only Mr. Kyle Ulbrich, I am Johnny Cruz. Thanks for checking us out. Peace out, people.
Later.
Peace out.